Following which at around 9:30 a.m. IST, we're expecting Prime Minister Modi to hold his official bilateral meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. By noon, he should be up in wheels, Niranjan. So it's going to be a very tight morning tomorrow morning. And Republic will be reporting live and breaking.
Yes. Okay, so as we stay with these pictures, that's the Prime Minister being greeted by Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, and his wife. You had Vladimir Putin as well. Putin standing right next to Xi Jinping, and that is symbolic, tells you the full story of the SCO Summit. Going across to Brahma Chalani continues to stay with us. Okay, and before I go across to our panelists, Ambassador Suresh Goyal is with us, and before I go across to the ambassador, just telling our viewers that tomorrow around 9:45 is when our Prime Minister is expected to meet Vladimir Putin on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. Is that correct, Ritat?
Yes, Niranjan, that's about 9:45 a.m. Tomorrow morning. About 9:45 to 10:30 hours is the window, about 45 minutes of bilateral meeting time between India and Russia. This is going to be a very important bilateral meeting, in fact, because President Putin is also set to visit to India in the month of November and December. That's the target window that we're looking at. Just a couple of weeks ago, when NSA Ajit Doval was present in Moscow, it was in fact confirmed over a call with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So these are important, a very important trend-setting bilateral meeting. And the importance of this bilateral meeting is also evident from the fact that yesterday, President Zelensky, in fact, called Prime Minister Narendra Modi to brief him about the conversations that were held in Alaska and subsequently in Washington. And he also attempted to persuade Prime Minister Narendra Modi to perhaps act as an interlocutor and send away a positive message towards Russia, what Ukraine's concerns are also. Because largely in the last 2 weeks since the Alaska summit, we have seen massive silence. President Trump initially came out quite bullish on a possible trilateral meeting that he can force onto the table with Ukrainian President Zelensky and Putin both on side of him. But so far he has had no success. And who knows, even India could emerge as a very significant player to act as an interlocutor between these two parties.
Yeah, I read somewhere that the Nobel Peace Committee, comprising 5 members, 3 of whom are against, giving it to Trump this year. What a shame that would be, right? I mean, that's what I think he knows that already. But anyway, we're getting in more pictures now of the Prime Minister Modi meeting the President of Maldives, Muiz, on the sidelines of SCO Summit in Tianjin. The Prime Minister has tweeted out a picture of him meeting the Maldivian President. Also, by the way, they share a very, very special relationship with China as well. So Maldives becomes very critical and has always been critical for China. They've tried their best to woo them. But the bonhomie between Prime Minister Modi and Muiz recently, when our Prime Minister got a warm welcome there, things have changed between India and Maldives than what they were in the last 2 years. He met him on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. I think any minute now we'll have that picture of our Prime Minister meeting the Maldivian President. And the Prime Minister has tweeted saying that India's development cooperation with Maldives is greatly beneficial for our people. And another picture that's just come into our newsrooms is that of our Prime Minister meeting. Okay, let's put the Maldives picture of Prime Minister Modi with Maldives. That's with Muiz. And that's on the sidelines of the SCO dinner that's happening. And the Prime Minister meeting the Nepalese Prime Minister, his Nepal counterpart, KP Oli in Tianjin. Very interesting also because Nepal, we are hearing, has officially raised its disapproval of India and China talking about our trade via the land route in Lippo Lake. They're not happy about that. There are reports that they've raised it with Xi Jinping. Not sure what the Chinese response would have been. But Ambassador Goyal, very interesting, both Maldives and Nepal, at some point in the recent past, both traditionally share a good relation. But in the recent past, we've had a little bit of a frosty relation with both countries, but yet ironed out quickly.
Mix, you are absolutely right that the relationship became rather frosty between India and these two countries. Not really just last year, but I think several years ago. And I would attribute that to really a simple, not simple, but a natural tendency on part of our neighbors to hedge between the two big neighbors. Nepal has China to the north and India to the south. And Nepal, ever since it became a democracy and the monarchy was thrown away, monarchy was the great bond between India and Nepal, incidentally, because of the factor of Hinduism. And the Nepalese monk was the head of the Hinduism in Nepal, really, in that sense. So ever since it became a democracy, there has been a tendency amongst the leftist parties in Nepal to really look to China as a balance to India, and that has played out in their foreign policy with India. But at the same time, given the topology, given the geography of Nepal, Tarai being host to a major Indian demography, really, I don't think Nepal can completely ignore Indian sensitivities or Indian concerns in the relationship, as has been evident recently. Therefore, when you mention Lipulekh Pass, it will remain a concern, but I don't think it is going to go beyond really just being a talking point. Yeah. Maldives, on the other hand, is a more important issue. Maldives plays a great role in the Indian Ocean. Maldives is a part of the Colombo Security Cooperation Platform, and Maldives has been actively wooed by China for its own Indian Ocean security links.